15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2018.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Ibikunle Amosu.
Pastor Adeboye visits Buhari at Aso Rock. Bagbo and Soro officially back in the presidential race. Trump defense supporters accused in deadly clash. And federal government raises agri credit scheme fund to 50 billion naira. Messi shun's first preseason training, insists on leaving Barcelona. You're welcome to Celebration Television News Desk. I am Nicholas Akosile Walter. Please stay with us as we'll bring you details of our news after the short break. You're welcome back. Now the news in details. Pastor Adeboye visits Buhari at Aso Rock. The General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Enoch Adeboye, visited the President Muhammadu Buhari at the State House in Abuja. The President's personal assistant on news media, Bashir Ahmad, made this known via his verified Twitter handle. The purpose of Adeboye's visit was not known yet as of the time of filing this report. But also at the meeting was Vice President Yemi Osibanjo and the President's Chief of Staff Ibrahim Gambari. And the 78-year-old cleric advised governments across the world to include religious leaders in COVID-19 committees so as to help with the spiritual aspect of the fight against the pandemic. Also, the presidency had yet to issue a statement on the meeting as of the time of filing this report. Buhari's meeting with Adeboye, however, took place at a time religious leaders and bodies were kicking against a session of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, which the President signed into law on August 7, 2020. The head of Media and Public Relations, RCCG, Pastor Laita Olubi, had in a recent interview said Adeboye's position on the law was not different from that of CAN and the PFN. Moving forward quickly, Nigeria reps to set new rules for pro-panels. Strong indications have emerged that standing and ad hoc committee of the House of Representatives will get new rules, modalities, and terms of reference when the National Assembly resumes from recess. It was gathered that the new rules would, among other things, check high-handedness by chairmen of committees when engaging the heads of ministries, departments, and agencies of the federal government. The leadership is also considering forcing panels to conclude probes and assignment within specific time, while the chairman must carry out the vice chairman and the members along. And a top official close to the leadership of a house in a chat with our correspondent disclosed that the recent developments were ridiculing the parliament. The source who spoke at condition of anonymity, as he was not authorized to talk about the plan, noted that committees had been breaking the standard rules of the House while carrying out the responsibilities assigned to them. The House Committee on Treaties, Protocols and Agreement has been probing external loans and commercial agreements between Nigeria and other countries, especially China. The development was said to have caused a clash among the lawmakers as the Committee on Finance and Aids, Loans and Debts Management were allegedly sidelined from the exercise against the resolution by the House. The National Assembly is scheduled to resume plenary on September 15, 2020, after a 2-month annual recess. Meanwhile, the Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, on Monday denied that the House had been completely shut down, stating that only committees were barred from holding public and investigative hearings. According to him, the lawmakers are still carrying out their oversight functions on the NDAs. The Speaker also explained that the House had not breached any law or known convention by embarking on an annual recess, while recalling that members were working during the recess until when it became necessary to suspend public hearings. On other stories, Osun reopens schools September 21, releases operational guidelines. The Osun State government says September 21, 2020 had been tentatively set for the reopening of schools in the state. The government disclosed this in a statement by the Commissioner for Information and Civic Orientation, Mrs. Funke Egbemode, at the end of the State Executive Council meeting. Egbemode also said stakeholders were expected to continue to put protocols in place towards the reopening of schools according to the guidelines set by the Federal Ministry of Education. Having conducted an assessment of schools within the state to ascertain the level of preparations for reopening, the government had scheduled schools to resume from the COVID-19 break on September 21st for an abridged third term of the 2019-2020 academic session, which is expected to end on October 30th, 2020. To make up for lost grounds caused by the COVID-19 induced lockdown, a new academic session 2020-2021 session is scheduled to commence on November 9th, 2020. Because of the Yuletide, schools will be expected to take a brief recess from December 24, 2020 to resume on January 4, 2021 for the conclusion or concluding part of the first term of the new session, which is scheduled to end January 22nd, 2021. And quickly coming from around Africa now, Gbagbo and Soro officially back in the presidential race. Two more candidates are officially in the running to be president in Côte d'Ivoire. About candidacy bids were filed in their absence in spite of the earlier decision taken in August to exclude the bid of anyone convicted of a crime or misdemeanor and stripped of their civil rights by the Independent Electoral Commission. The rebel leader Guillaume Soro is candidate number one and now officially in the running to be the next Ivorian president. Currently in self-imposed exile in France, the former ally of President Ouattara had his candidacy bid, which was initially rejected by the IEC, filed on his behalf. And the other candidate number two is Laurent Gbagbo. He is also in exile in Belgium and likewise believed to be irrevocably removed from the electoral list. He appears to be extremely popular and beloved among his devoted supporters who have formed a pro-Gbagbo coalition calling themselves Together for Democracy and Sovereignty, and quite unapologetically submitted a candidacy bid in his stead. Opposition leaders Pascal Affi Nguessa of Ivorian Popular Front and Henry Konan Bede of the Opposition Democratic Party of Côte d'Ivoire had submitted their candidacy last Thursday. The supposedly outgoing President Alassane Ouattara, 78, was the first to submit his application last Monday with the signatures of 1 million citizens, a condition for eligibility to contest for the presidency. He had initially stated that he would not run for another term as per the national constitution, which states that a president can be in position for only 2 terms, but changed his mind following the sudden death of Prime Minister Amadou Coulibaly, the initially chosen candidate by his ruling party. Although the constitution limits presidents to 2 terms, Ouattara and his supporters argue that a 2016 constitutional modification resets the clock, which would legally permit him to run for a 3rd term. With several political heavy hitters in the running, the upcoming October election promises to be exciting. Still from around Africa, Ramaphosa to face party probe. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa, who appeared before an integrity commission to answer questions about a controversial campaign donation, This is according to his governing party officials. Senior members of the African National Congress, ANC, JC, Kwate, however, has not specified when Mr. Ramaphosa will present himself before the party panel. Mr. Ramaphosa, according to South Africa Anti-Corruption Watchdog, is alleged to have misled Parliament about money he received in 2017 worth more than $36,000. Mr. Ramaphosa maintained it was a donation towards his campaign for the ANC leadership. As president, Mr. Ramaphosa has staked his reputation on cleaning up the country's politics since he replaced Jacob Zuma. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll bring you updates from the United States of America. Let's see how Trump defends supporters accused in deadly clashes. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome to News Desk on Celebration TV. I am Comfort James.
And I'm Femi Mark.
And the news making the rounds.
Please stay with us as we bring you details.
Watch robust, objective, analytical, informative, educative, entertaining and inspiring news on Celebration TV News Desk. Every weekday, 11 a.m. GMT +1, that is 11 a.m. GMT +1 on Mondays through Fridays.
You are welcome to Sports Corner. I am Ivan Agafe.
Celebration TV News Desk, the whole truth. There is a door set before us to unlock for divine access. It's time to ask, seek, knock. Holy Ghost Conference 2020, Apostle Johnson and Dr. Lizzie Suleiman. Theme, It Is Written. Date, 2nd through 6th September 2020 by 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. daily. Live at the International Worship Center, Omega Fire Ministries headquarters, AUCHI, Delta State, Nigeria. Holy Ghost Conference 2020. No man can stop you.
Welcome to News Desk on Celebration TV. I am Comfort James.
And I'm Femi Mark.
And the news making the rounds.
Please stay with us as we bring you details.
Watch robust, objective, analytical, informative, educative, entertaining and inspiring news on Celebration TV News Desk. Every weekday, 11 a.m. GMT +1, that is 11 a.m. GMT +1 on Mondays through Fridays.
You are welcome to Sports Corner. I am Ivan Agafe.
Celebration TV News Desk, the whole truth.
All right, thanks for joining us once again. Now, updates from the United States. Trump defends supporters accused in deadly clashes. U.S. President Donald Trump has actually defended supporters of his for their alleged roles in recent deadly street clashes. He suggested a teen accused of killing two in Wisconsin last week, and Trump fans involved in clashes in Oregon on Saturday were acting in self-defense. Mr. Trump pointed out his Democratic White House challenger, Joe Biden, who actually has not specifically disavowed far-left activists accused of civil disorder. The violence has actually moved amid widespread, largely peaceful anti-racism protest. Mr. Biden, leading in opinion polls ahead of November's election, has spoken out against violence and accused Mr. Trump of accusing the division that have stoked it. At Monday's White House news conference, Mr. Trump blamed Mr. Biden and his allies for violence in cities run by Democratic mayors and governors. The Republican president was asked whether he would condemn supporters of his who fired paint pellets during a confrontation with counter-protesters at the weekend in Portland, Oregon. In the ensuing street clashes, a member of a right-wing group, Patriot Prayer, was killed by a suspect who has reportedly described himself as a member of Anifa, a loosely affiliated network of mainly far-left activists. On Monday, police named the man who was shot dead as Aaron Danielson. No arrest has been made. Another reporter asked Mr. Trump whether he would condemn a shooting in Kenosha, Wisconsin, allegedly by a teenager once pictured at one of the president's rallies. And Kyle Rittenhouse, 17, is accused of shooting 3 people who fatally last week amid demonstrations in the city over the police shooting of Jacob Blake. And quickly, more updates from the United Kingdom. Lockdown pupils are 3 months behind, says teachers. Children in England are 3 months behind in their studies after lockdown, with boys and poor pupils worse hit. A teacher survey has suggested the learning gap between rich and poor pupils has grown by almost half since schools closed in March. Teachers has also said that. And with schools balancing education and social distancing, a quick catch-up is unlikely, as the authors warned. The government has said it is determined children should not lose out because of coronavirus. The new term begins in England and Wales this week. Schools are already back in Scotland and Northern Ireland. The National Foundation for Education Research's survey questioned almost 3,000 heads and teachers in about 2,200 schools. It was carried out just before the end of term in July and suggested teachers had covered just 66% of their usual curriculum for the academic year. It comes days after a separate study showed the learning gap between rich and poor primary pupils had begun to widen even before the pandemic. The National Foundation for Educational Research report found teachers in the most deprived schools were more than 3 times as likely, 53%, to say their pupils were at least 4 months behind compared with those in the wealthiest schools, which is 15%. Schools in Scotland reopened on 11th of August, while many pupils returned to classrooms in Northern Ireland last week, and those in England and Wales are preparing to welcome pupils back to school this week, with support for the return rising. But last time attendance was poor. Only 56% of eligible pupils actually went back amid safety concerns from parents, the reports revealed. Almost 3/4 of the teachers' questions felt unable to teach to their usual standard under the regulations. And on business news, federal government raises agri-credit scheme fund to 50 billion naira. The federal government of Nigeria has raised the share capital of the agricultural credit guarantee scheme to 50 billion naira from 3 billion naira. The Central Bank of Nigeria disclosed this in a document on Monday entitled Agricultural Credit Guarantee Scheme Fund Amendment Act 2019. It stated that the AUCHI Amendment Act was assented to by the federal government on June 24, 2019. According to the document, complete agricultural value chain financing is now allowed under the AUCHI Amendment Act 2019. The CBN said under the Agricultural Credit Guarantee Scheme Amendment Act 2019, the sharing ratio is Federal Ministry of Finance 60, Central Bank of Nigeria 40. The maximum for non-collateralized loan under the AUCHI Amendment Act 2019 is now 100,000 naira. Under the amended act, the maximum amount of collateralized loan guaranteed or granted to individuals, cooperative societies and corporate entities is now 50 million, up from 10 million naira. Complete agricultural value chain financing is now allowed under the Agricultural Credit Guarantee Scheme Amendment Act 2019. The act aimed to amend the AUCHI Fund Act's CAP A11 laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 to enhance the capital base, expand the coverage of the scheme, increase the size of the loanable fund, increase membership, and give more powers to the board and for related matters. And still, on business news, oil marketers deny NNPC on 5.35 billion naira petrol subsidy payment. Oil marketers on Monday expressed surprise over the resurfacing of petrol subsidy in June 2020, as disclosed by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation in its latest operation report. According to marketers of petrol, the government had since March this year declared that the downstream oil sector had been deregulated, and as such there was no need for petrol subsidy. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria and the Petroleum Product Retail Outlets Owners Association of Nigeria told the correspondent in Abuja that they had not received any subsidy payments from government. Under recovery is the losses incurred by the oil firm due to the difference between the subsidized price at which the corporation sells petrol and the price which should have received to meet its production cost. The Group General Manager, Group Public Affairs Division NNPC, Kenny Obateru, had explained that the return on the recovery in June has due to the payment for stock held by marketers at the onset of the removal of the subsidy by the federal government. The National Public Relations Officer, Ipman Ukadike Chinedu, said it was surprising to hear of subsidy payments when the downstream sector had been deregulated. We'll go on a short break. Please stay with us as we bring you news from the sporting world. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome to News Desk on Celebration TV. I am Comfort James.
And I'm Femi Marks.
And the news making the rounds.
Please stay with us as we bring you details.
Watch robust, objective, analytical, informative, educative, entertaining and inspiring news on Celebration TV News Desk. Every weekday, 11 a.m. GMT plus 1, that is 11 a.m. GMT plus 1 on Mondays through Fridays.
You are welcome to Sports Corner. I am Ivan Agafe.
Celebration TV News Desk, the whole truth. There is a door set before us to unlock for divine access.
And sumda inko pele entire ozozo.
It's time to ask, seek, knock.
Hello, hello,
Holy Ghost Conference 2020, Apostle Johnson and Dr. Lizzie Suleiman. Theme, It Is Written. Date, 2nd through 6th September 2020, by 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. daily. Live at the International Worship Center, Omega Fire Ministries Headquarters, AUCHI, Delta State, Nigeria. Holy Ghost Conference 2020. No man can stop you.
Welcome to News Desk on Celebration TV. I am Comfort James.
And I'm Femi Marks.
And the news making the rounds.
Please stay with us as we bring you details.
Watch robust, objective, analytical, informative, educative, entertaining and inspiring news on Celebration TV News Desk. Every weekday, 11 a.m. GMT plus 1, that is 11 a.m. GMT plus 1 on Mondays through Fridays.
You are welcome to Sports Corner. I am Ivan Agafe.
Celebration TV News Desk, the whole truth.
Welcome to sports. Messi shun's first preseason training, insists on leaving Barcelona. Lionel Messi boycotted Barcelona's first preseason training season on Monday, club sources have confirmed, as the striker upped the stakes in his battle to leave the summer. After skipping coronavirus test on Sunday, Messi was absent again from the club's training ground, where Ronald Koeman held a session at his first since being appointed Barca coach. It appears increasingly likely Messi will try to force a transfer by refusing to play in La Liga next season, which begins on September 12th. The 33-year-old and his lawyers believe that participating in Barcelona's preseason program will contradict their argument that Messi no longer belonged to the club. But Barcelona maintained that that clause had to be activated by June 10th, and deadline has not been extended despite the season being prolonged due to the pandemic, with the Men's Champions League final played on August 23rd. La Liga backed up Barca's position on Sunday by announcing that a release clause in Messi's contract set at 700 million euros still applies. The club's captain and the greatest ever player, who has scored 634 goals for them and won 34 titles, now risk being punished either by a fine or, if his absence continues, a reduction in salary. Manchester City remains favourites to sign Messi, whose basic salary alone amounts to around 60 million euros. The Argentinian has actually reportedly spoken to City coach Pep Guardiola, but other clubs remain in the running, including Paris Saint-Germain, Inter Milan and Juventus. In another sports news, quickly, injured Osaka climbs to 9th in WTA rankings. Naomi Osaka climbed one place to number 9 in the new WTA rankings, which were released on Monday ahead of the US Open after withdrawing from the Western and Southern Open final at the weekend. Osaka is actually scheduled to meet fellow Japanese Misaki Doi in the first round at Flushing Meadows, pulled out of Saturday's finals because of a left hamstring injury. A withdrawal handed the title to Victoria Azarenka, who climbed 32 places to 27th in the world. Australian Akshay Bhatia retains the top spot, although neither she nor world number 2 Simon Halep are actually taking part in the US Open, which has been staged without spectators in a COVID-19 quarantine bubble. Karolina Pliskova, the world number 3, is the highest ranked player and top seed going into the second Grand Slam tournament of the year. Serena Williams, 38, who is searching for her 24th Grand Slam singles title, rises one place to 8 in the world. That's brought us to the end of the news of Celebration Television News Desk. And in case you're just joining us, here's the news headline recap. And quickly, Pastor Adeboye visits Buhari at Asorok. Gbagbo and Soro officially back in the presidential race. And Trump defense supporters accused in deadly clashes. Federal government raises agri-credit scheme fund to 50 billion naira. Messi shuns first pre-season training and insists on leaving Barcelona. And quickly, we have right here a photo of the day. You could practically see a man carrying two buckets of water, and it simply depicts that once you carry your own water, you will understand the value of every drop. What does that mean? Yes, until you carry your cross, you will know how important it is to actually pamper it until you get to your destination. You can as well drop your comment on social media platforms. On Facebook, Celebration TV, Instagram, My Celebration TV, Twitter at My Celebration TV, YouTube, Celebration TV. The continuous transformation of our society is a collective responsibility of all. No matter the office you hold as a nation's president, a thought leader, an opinion molder, a character builder, a professional, or as a person pursuing passion, you have a duty to give your all to making the society a better place for us and the generations to come. Play your part today and do it with all diligence. Thanks once again for staying with us on our news desk. I am Nicholas Akosile Walter. Bless you. Great day ahead. To 15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor Ibikunle Amosun